Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hello witches! Welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I am Morgan and Happy New Year! It is January 1st. This is a beautiful start to the new year, right? Like for my podcast episode to air on January 1st, I fucking love it. So this year, 2025, numerology suggests that it will be a year of completions and alignments. Yes. So I'm already feeling it. I've actually been feeling it for a while, or I've been feeling the fact that that's what's coming for 2025. Yeah. So I don't know how you all are feeling, but today's episode is about 3 other energetic New Years. And if you're like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm going to let you know. If setting goals and intentions for the new year is something that you are just not feeling right now, and that is like the last thing that you want to do, then you are not alone. You are probably more energetically aligned to the flow of things around you than either you realize or that you give yourself credit for. Okay. That's what today's episode is going to be about. I'm going to go over the current energy right now, and then why many of you are like, I'm not setting New Year's resolutions right now. Or if you're like, why do my New Year's resolutions why do I never stick to them? It might be the energy behind them. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And then I'm also going to share with you 3 other energetic reset points that are coming up within the next few months that you might align with more. Okay. And overall, if you do want to know, back in the day, at the beginning of my podcast, I did do an episode called #New Year, New Me is bullshit. I still feel that way. Okay. I still feel that way. I'm going to share with you all some of my personal, like what I do or energetically how I'm aligned. And then the bonus content over on Patreon for this episode, I will dive down more into that. Okay. So let's start, because we have a lot. We have a lot to cover, and I think a lot of you are really going to resonate with this episode. So to start, little plug, just because it is time sensitive. If you are in the Banish Bullshit, Call in Power, Black Moon Magic for 2025 workshop, which is co-hosted by Megan Winkler and myself, we did it together. The information that I'm going to provide today does not contradict any of that. And if you are wondering what this was a free workshop that Megan and I put together. So if you are listening to this podcast episode on January 1st or January 2nd, you will still be able to have access to this workshop. It was a free 6-day workshop that actually started on December 28th. But as long as you head to our website, inkgoddesscreations.com, and right there, kind of on the front page, you'll see Banish Bullshit, Call in Power. You'll see the listing. It is a free workshop. Once you get access to it, you'll have unlimited access to it, but I will be removing the link to the listing on January. I'll leave it through January 2nd. Okay. So basically that was a free 6-day workshop that Megan and I put on, where we helped you set intentions for the new year, so that information can be applied even if you're not setting intentions right now. But there were other fun things because there were a lot of energetic alignments happening right around this time, the beginning of the year. There's also a new moon or a new year ritual, Book of Shadows page that I gave everyone. But like I said, if you have already purchased it, or if you are going to go to the website on January 1st or January 2nd to purchase, and I put that in quotation marks because it is a free course, then you will get access to the 6-day course indefinitely. I'm just going to leave that in the background. But if you have not purchased your free ticket to it, I will be removing the listing after January 2nd. So that was just a little shameless plug for the beginning because, like I said, it is time sensitive. So if you are a person who does successfully set New Year's resolutions this time of year and you stick to them, then this episode will just have more energy aligning stuff for you to give your resolutions an energetic boost. Okay. But let's talk. You are like, fuck a New Year's resolution. Let's talk. Me and you. Okay. If you are in this, like, how do people set New Year's resolutions in January? We just started winter. Like, and especially if you live in an area where you're up to your eyeballs in snow. You're like, how are they motivated to make New Year's resolutions? Or how are they motivated to keep them when everything in the world is shut down? You are not alone. And the energy of this season is so crazy to me that, let me rephrase that. The energy of this season is aligned with not setting intentions on January 1st. And the fact that there's so many things out there that are like, oh, January 1st is a new year. You should be resetting yourself. You should be making goals for your new year. That is completely a constructed concept by man. Okay, so release any type of shame or guilt if you don't set New Year's resolutions, or if you set them and then 2 weeks later they're all in the gutter. Okay, release the shame and guilt associated with that, because setting New Year's resolutions on January 1st and then sticking to them and the pressure to stick to them is a man-made concept. Okay, it is not aligned with the energy of the season. Now, if you are a person, like I said, that does set New Year's resolutions, and I will let you know, I am kind of one of those people. I'll get to that in a second. I'm not trying to shame you into like, well, if you're like, well, oh, I do set successful New Year's resolutions, then that is amazing. And you have a lot more personal drive than a lot of people. Okay, so you should celebrate that. All right. But winter just officially started, like a week and a half ago? The winter solstice, Yule, is the first official day of winter. Okay. We don't know that here in Arizona, in Tucson. I'm about to approach 2 weeks of fall in January, which then is accompanied by 2 weeks of winter. And then it's February, and about midway through February, it's summer again. We start to go back up to 80s and 90s. So, and then if you're in a place northern, like one of the northern states, you've already had snow. And I can't even fathom that, because we might get snow on New Year's Day. And then there's actually a higher probability of us getting snow in March here in Tucson. I'm not even kidding you. Yeah. But anyway, we just started technically the winter season a week and a half ago. Okay. The winter season begins with it begins resonating with the element of earth. Okay. If all of the seasons, and this is what we've been doing in Rewilding Your Inner Witch and the Ink Spirit Coven since March. I started the program in March because for me, that is the awakening. And we'll get to that too. But the spring is aligned with the element of air, the summer with the element of fire, the fall with the element of water, and the winter resonates and is aligned with the element of earth. Earth is all about being grounded, stable, being introspective, and it is about stillness to build the foundation within yourself. Okay? We just started winter a week and a half ago. So we are just now energetically starting the hibernation process, like hard hibernation. Like, do not talk to me. I'm going to be in my house. I'm probably not going to answer text messages or phone calls. Like, I am focusing on me. That is the energy of the winter. And the winter begins with Yule and ends on Ostara, or the first day of spring, which is not until the middle of March, like March 20th, 21st, depending on the year. Okay. So if we're just now beginning that internal dive down inside of yourself, this is shadow working season, this is time to meditate and journal and get to know yourself and dive down into yourself and be like, you know what? I don't want to carry this with me anymore. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that. Or I would really like to build this foundation within myself so that moving forward, I'm headed in this direction. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now. That's what the energy lends to. I shouldn't say that's what you're supposed to be doing, because you're supposed to be doing whatever the fuck you want to do. Okay. But that's what the energy now, a date or this time of year lends to. Okay. So that's where we're at, the element of earth, stability, building a strong foundation. And so if you are like, how are people starting over? How are they hitting the reset button? Basically in the middle of winter, you're energetically aligned with what's happening around you. You're energetically aligned more with the seasons. You're aligned with the natural rhythms of the world around you. Okay. New Year on January 1st is a calendar reset, okay? It is not a human reset. Let me flip my notebook. I always have to make that apparent in the audio. those watching on YouTube, y'all see it. So this is where I'm going to tell you all about me. Do I set goals January 1st? I do, okay? Because I like the easy structure of like knowing that I set goals on January 1st. You know, I don't have to sit there and like think about like, oh, was it the new moon in January or the new moon in February? Maybe it was the new moon in March that I decided to finally start eating healthy. It's like, oh, January 1st. Got it. Psh, you know, so it's just because I have a shit memory. But energetically, I don't do a lot with my goals that I set on January 1st. And this is where I tend to blend the calendar reset with energetic reset. And I actually teeter more into energetic reset. Okay. I move forward with Imbolc and Ostara. Okay. That's when, so I'll set my goals January 1st. But I don't have them January 2nd, January 3rd. I mean, like, it's not like I completely strip away the person that I was and try to change 17 things about myself on January 1st. Okay, that's not what I do. But I do set the goals. And then slowly from January 1st until Imbolc, which is February 1st. And then again, slowly until Ostara, March 20th, 21st. I'm working on them. I'm doing things with them. I am meditating. I'm journaling. I'm honoring the stillness of the earth element and the season, the winter season, and how that resonates with the element of earth. I'm honoring all of that within me, and I'm working with that energy. But yeah, I do set, I don't like to call them resolutions, maybe goals. I set goals for 2025, like big picture goals. Okay. And so that's what I do. Now, if you're a Patreon member, a paid Patreon member for the podcast here, I'm going to go more into this in your bonus content of like my personal practice. Okay. But that's where I'm saying, like, if you started out in this episode and you're like, but I do set resolutions and I do stick to them, I'm with you. And if you're like, I don't set resolutions, or if I set them, I don't stick to them, I'm with you too. I'm like in the middle. Okay. So if you are like, no, this all makes sense. I'm in winter. I want to push the reset button later. After I've done some shadow working, I really figure out what I want 2025 to be, what I want to do. If you're like, okay, when then? Energetically, when should I hit the reset button? Okay. First of all, you can hit the energetic reset button whenever you like, any new moon. Okay. Any new moons are great times for setting intentions. So you can do that whenever in the hell you want to. Yeah. You can do it on your birthday, whenever that is. That's another great one. But coming up, we have three. We have three energetic reset points that you can align with depending on what sounds good during this episode. If you get something, if you're hearing something and you get like goosebumps, go with that. Those are affirmation bumps. Okay. So the first one coming up is the Lunar New Year. Okay, that has been adopted by the Chinese for thousands of years, I think, like thousands of years. So if you've heard of Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year, we tend to call it Chinese New Year. For them, it's the Lunar New Year. And it is actually based more on energy than anything else. So it is the second new moon after the solstice. If that is not so pagany, I don't even know what is. Like, to have your calendar year start on the second new moon after the solstice, that's just sexy. It really is. Okay. So usually what happens is that tends to be the first new moon of our calendar year. Okay. Over here in Western region, when we start over on January 1st, it tends to align with the first new moon in our calendar year. So usually it's somewhere between January 20th, 21st, January 20th is my birthday, into about 2 weeks into February. So somewhere in that time period, there's going to be a new moon. That is the Lunar New Year. And that is what we know as the Chinese New Year. Okay. For this year, it does happen on Wednesday, January 29th, and it is a new moon in Aquarius, okay? So if you prefer to set your intentions with new moons, this is the first new moon of 2025. So this would be a great time to set your goals, set intentions, set your resolutions for 2025, okay? The second reset button, if you're like, nah, I'm not feeling that one, keep going, Morgan. The second one is Imbolc, which is February 1st. And Imbolc is the midway point of the winter. Okay, so technically we're supposed to have gotten through the harshest parts of the winter, but thank you, global warming. Like I said, we generally expect snow in March here. Last year, or year before last, the first day that we went to the gym show, it was snowing. That was January, like end of January. But anyway, we've had snow in March quite a few years. But February 1st, which is Imbolc, marks the midway point of winter. Okay, so winter started on Yule, winter solstice, and it goes until spring equinox or Ostara. And so Imbolc is like the halfway point of that. Okay, so we're supposed to be through the thick of the winter, and we're supposed to start seeing the earth reawaken after its hibernation. So generally snowdrops, if you're in an area where snowdrops just kind of grow, it's a flower, just kind of grow willy-nilly, they're going to start peeking up through the snow. The snow is going to start melting, supposedly. Again, global warming. But this is where you may start to feel like awakening. You may start to feel the stirrings within you of all the journaling you've done, all the meditating you've done, all of the shit you've figured out about yourself. You may start to be like, all right, maybe I'll do a little action plan here. Maybe I'll try adding something new to my morning routine. Okay. So that's what Imbolc is. It is also the time of Bridget, who is the Celtic she's a Celtic fire goddess of inspiration and motivation. So she starts kicking people in their asses, especially if you align with the Celtic pantheon. Bridget is there to motivate. She's there to inspire. She's there to help light your inner fire. She's there to help reawaken you. Okay. And yes, Bridget is one of mine. She's one of my patron goddesses. So I'm definitely going to go into that a little bit more in the Patreon bonus content as well. So that's the second energetic reset point. If that's the point where you're like, okay, I'm starting to feel like myself again. So these are the things I want to accomplish this year. Imbolc is another great reset point. Okay. And the third one is the beginning of Aries season. So this would be your hard astrological reset. Okay. So like basically if you're like, okay, I really have to this is your Control-Alt-Delete. For those of you who are older, Control-Alt-Delete, hit escape a few times, whatever. This is your hard reset. Okay. Aries season can be that. Now, Aries season absolutely coincides with the spring equinox and the first day of spring. Okay. Aries season generally starts around the 20th, 21st. This year it will start on March 20th. That happens to be Ostara. It's the first day of spring. So this is when energetically you are coming to life. You are reawakening after the hibernation. This is the beginning of spring. Now you're going to be planting the seeds of the things that you want to accomplish this year. Okay. If you're a gardener, you're going to be planting physical seeds. But you can always plant metaphysical seeds within you. So this is your hard energetic reset. Okay. And like I said, that is March 20th. Aries is also a fire sign. So that's where you're going to get your motivation, your inspiration, your passion to achieve your goals. And when you can really kind of come out into the world and be like, hello, I'm here. I'm awake now. This is what I'm doing to beast 2025. Aries season or Ostara, it's the same thing. That's a great, great time to emerge and get shit done. Okay. So if you do set resolutions, you can use these other energetic starting points to revamp. I don't know anyone who sets intentions for the new year on January 1st or prior to January 1st and 100% keeps them throughout the entire year. I don't know if I've ever met a person that does that. Or at least it's never come up in conversation, because it probably, if I were to meet someone and that were to come up in conversation, I would be like, oh my God, that's a unicorn, And what I mean by that is intentions and goals can move with you. They can evolve as you evolve. I can 100% say I am not the same person that started 2024. Okay. I had a lot of transformation in 2024, and the person that I started, and therefore the goals that I set at the beginning of 2024 were not how I ended up at the end of 2024. Okay. And as I evolved, as I transformed, as I up-leveled and regulated myself to these new ways of being and to this new person who I was, I set new goals, and then those evolved. And so this is why I think I did not go back and listen to hashtag New Year, New Me is bullshit. I didn't go back and listen to that episode before recording this one, but I'm pretty sure that's what I said back then because it's a core belief of mine. You can reinvent yourself at any point. You can transform at any point. And I had it memorized, and now, of course, now that I'm recording this for you all, it just went out my brain. But Martha Stewart has a quote that is something along the lines of, when you are through changing, you're through. And I love that. Oh, I just got goosebumps. I love that quote because you can transform at any time. You can change at any time. You can hit the reset button at any time. Okay. It's when you are ready to do so that you will do it no matter what. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's Aries season. It doesn't matter if it's a new moon. It doesn't matter if it's winter. When you are ready to energetically realign yourself, you will make it happen because you're ready. Okay. So if you do set New Year's resolutions and you stick to them, then you can use these as new energetic reset points for them, or times when you can reevaluate, let me tweak this intention a little bit more. Let me redefine this. Let me add to this one. Okay. And if you do not set resolutions right now, then rest. Honor the energy around you. Honor the season. Honor the element of earth and rest right now. And you can use any of these as a little boost to setting intentions or setting goals for the year. But like I just said, you can reinvent yourself at any point. You can transform at any point when you are ready. So even if one of these three come and go and you're like, I don't feel like it, then don't do it. Work with your own energy and what you're feeling inside of you. I started a transformation in June or July of 2024. Was that aligned with anything? No. It wasn't even aligned with the solstice. I just hit a point in my life and I had the knowledge and the forgiveness of my past selves and the ability and the desire to move forward in a new direction for myself. And so I did it because I wanted to. So you can do that too. All right, that's what I have for you all today. I do have Patreon shout outs. So these are the new members for the last 2 weeks because I took off on Christmas. So I want to say thank you and welcome to Amy, Joni, Leslie, Megan, and Michelle. And if you have joined recently, know that I'm starting to record my podcasts a little bit earlier because I have help now with them. And I'm so excited because y'all don't even know how much time that frees up for me to be able to create new things for you all. If I'm not sitting here editing a podcast, I can just sit down, create, and then send it on its way. And it makes me very happy. So sorry if you all hear that truck in the background. I thought we were alone here today, kind of. Anyway, if you are part of the paid Patreon podcast tier, which is just the $5 a month tier, and anything above that too, you get access to the podcast stuff, then my bonus content for today will be more of my personal practice for this time of year. I'll be going more into Bridget, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you want to join my Patreon, I do have a free tier as well. Then you can head to patreon.com/InkedGoddessCreations. And that's what I have for you all this week. Thank you for making 2024 absolutely amazing. And if this is the first time that you've ever been here, welcome. Thank you for taking a chance on my podcast. And of course, if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, share with your witchy friends, all that good stuff. So it helps new magically curious people find me. And I love that. And one of my focuses for 2025 is the podcast. So I'm really excited about that. But thank you all for being here, for giving me a platform to share my knowledge and my story. And I hope 2025 is absolutely fucking amazing for all of you. Bye. If you're looking for a magical community where you can just be yourself, check out my Ink Spirit Coven. The Coven is an online learning circle for eclectic witches who want to learn new witchcraft practices and how to easily incorporate magic into their daily lives, all while being supported on their personal spiritual journey. And you'll have me as your magical mentor, sharing my knowledge, answering questions, and facilitating the online community. Head to inkspirit.com to learn more and join. And if unique witchcraft supplies made by witches for witches is just what you need, head to my store, inkgoddesscreations.com, to see what we have to enhance your magical practice. We also have the Ink Goddess Creations box, a monthly subscription of magic mail filled with exclusive items that fit a magical theme. Head to the site to see this month's theme and sneak peeks.